Hello, amazing artists. Welcome back to Art Class with Mr. Mazer. So this year, starting off, our very first project, we're gonna be doing a fun kind of color mixing, doing a palette, paintbrush. So we're gonna draw it out today, and then next week we'll have some fun mixing colors and creating all of that splatter fun that we love. So first thing we're gonna do, we are going to draw out a palette. So I have laid some oval templates. If you've ever seen an artist holding a paint palette, you know, they're kind of this shape. So we're gonna put it off to the side and you can kind of angle it how you like. Now, remember if you've had art class with me before, or if you haven't, my rules on these drawings: number one, most important rule, have fun. Number two, make sure that you're drawing lightly with your pencil, because if you make a mistake, it's a lot easier to erase and cover up if it is light. So start off very light with your pencil. And number three, while I'm talking and drawing during the video, you should just be watching so you can get the full directions and understand. And then I give you a little break in between steps, so it gives you time to draw. So first thing we're gonna do is you're gonna trace your oval. So I'm gonna do it in my pencil here. Now, next step, the palettes usually have a little divot in them. Now it can be just a little curve inside, or it might be like a little hook shape. So we're gonna draw a little kind of curve coming around, and then I am going to trace my line and go all the way around, just like this. Now you're just drawing in pencil, so you don't really have to worry about this step, but this will be step number one. Now, after we've done this, I'm gonna erase this little part so we don't see it anymore. And you see how I drew lightly so that when I erase it, it disappears. Now, the palettes, they always have a little circle in them. That's for the artist to put their thumb in so they can hold the palette while they're painting. So we're gonna add one of those up here. It's gonna make a nice little circle, just like that. All right, now we are gonna make this look three-dimensional. So we're gonna add kind of a little crescent shape. So we're gonna follow the curve of our circle here and go in like that. Now, because it is on this side of the palette, that means this side would be three-dimensional too. So I'm gonna do the same thing. So I'm gonna start at the outermost part of my circle, or my palette, which would be up here. And then I'm just gonna go down a little bit, and we're gonna follow it just very closely, right underneath. And then once I get to that outermost point up here, that's where it's gonna connect. And I could do that up here if I want to. You don't really have to, but it would be more realistic. Now, to enhance that three-dimensional look, we're gonna add some little lines. This will also add a little bit of texture. And I'm gonna do that along the bottom here as well. So you can go ahead and add some tiny little lines onto your paint palette. Just like that. All right, now the next step, we are going to add the blobs of paint. That's gonna be the fun part on our paint palette. We're gonna have those blobs of paint. So we're gonna have our 6 main colors, primary and secondary, and then we'll have the one in between, the intermediate or tertiaries. So first we're gonna do 6 big blobs. You wanna try and space them out evenly and make sure that you're leaving space in between them as well. So, you know, a blob shape, it's an organic shape, kind of rounded. So you can do it as funky and odd as you want. So there's one, and I'm gonna leave another one over here. There's 2. Make sure you're leaving a little bit of space. And I wanna make sure 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm just kind of planning out how I'm gonna lay them on there so that they'll be evenly spaced. 3, 4, There's number 5. And number 6. All right. Now, after we've done that, we're going to add our smaller little blobs in between these. We need 6 of those. So you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then on the outside of one of these, you're going to do another one. It should only be 6 little blobs though. So you can do it right in the middle. You can kind of stagger it a bit if you want. These should be a little bit smaller. And you can kind of put them in different places. So we got little blobs in between the big blobs. And you can kind of alter the shape of your blob to make it fit in between there. But remember, you want them to be a little bit smaller. And then I need one either over here or over there. I got a lot of space up here, so I think I'm going to do my 6th little blob right there. Boom. So now we've got a beautiful paint palette with a lot of fun paint on it. We'll have fun painting that in next week and mixing colors, so that'll be cool. Now the next thing we're going to do is add a paintbrush. And I got one here so you can see kind of what it should look like. And we're going to go and draw along with this to make our brush. So we're going to want it to be about this size. You know, we got a good amount of space over here on the paper that we want to fill in. So I'm going to pretty much copy the paintbrush onto the page just like that. So I'm going to start with this kind of rectangle shape, although we don't have points on the corners, they're kind of rounded. So I'm going to start with my straight line and curve, so it's like a rectangle shape, but with a soft edge, not a sharp pointed edge. And then bring it down, just like that. Now, there's some writing here. It says 2 because it's a 2-inch wide brush. I don't think we're gonna add that stuff, but you can add a line like this one has. Or you can add maybe like some these little square shapes that are on the brush. Just like that. Now, next thing we'll do is add the handle. It can be pointed like this. If you wanna have a more rounded edge, that's fine too. So I'm gonna bring it in. Just like that. Beautiful. I'm gonna add a circle just like I did there. Make it realistic to this brush. Now, I'm going to add the wood graining. So if I hold this up kind of close, yeah, we can see all that nice wood grain that goes through this brush. So we're gonna kind of mimic that. So I'm gonna add a couple little wood knots. So these are, you know, kind of knots in the wood that just naturally appear. And then I'm going to do the grain of the wood and just follow it and go around those, or you can skip over them. You're the artist, so I'll let you make that decision. And we're just gonna follow along the whole length of our brush to fill in that space. And if it closes in like that, you can touch your lines or you can kind of give a little space. That is totally up to you. Now, for the brush part, we're just gonna do kind of the bottom of the brush because we're gonna add a blob of paint on here too. So it looks like we were painting onto this. So I'm gonna add my brushes up. I'm gonna make mine a little bit uneven, so I'm gonna do kind of slanted like that. And then we're gonna add another blob of paint. So I'm gonna follow the edge there, and I'm just gonna do this so it looks like I got a big wad of paint on here, like that. And if you wanna do a couple little blobs plopping off of there, totally your choice. And we're gonna do the bristles of the paint as well. So I'm gonna follow that. Make those lines real close together so it looks like a real paintbrush would.
Teachers, please pardon this interruption. Just a quick update. I just got in touch with Live Touch and they will not be able to be here until 2. That's the time they will start to set up. And we should hopefully
Sorry about that interruption. So once you've drawn your little blob and you got your brushes in there, so that is going to be the final step. So listen to me in class and I'll give you any little pointers that you need to finish that up. And like I said, next week we'll be mixing and making the whole color wheel and adding some fun blobs and splatters all over there. So hope you enjoyed that, amazing artists, and we'll see you next time.